massive new video showcasing loads of hidden features, tips, and tricks to either help you beat Dead Rails or at least make your runs a little bit less painful. So stick around because you may learn something new, and hey, if you do end up enjoying the video, definitely hit that subscribe button. Enough yap though, video time. I've said it a million times, but there are somehow people that just keep saying they didn't know about this, so I'll tell you once again. Just after you spawn in, there's going to be newspapers in the front right side. You can take them and use them as armor on your train or as extra fuel. Personally, I choose armor, and I'd recommend the same for you. Though if you're not looking to start your run right away, you don't have to, because you can just kind of sit AFK for a little while, let a few nights pass, and then whenever you decide to come back first thing in the morning, you'll have loads of bodies that you can sell at the trading post to get a lot of extra starting cash. Or if you just get zombie bodies, you'll have some extra starting fuel. I usually do this whenever I'm writing these scripts. I'm actually doing this right now. It just became morning. Speaking of being AFK, if you're on a PC and you want to let the train drive while you go and do something else for a couple of minutes or whatever, all that you have to do is press the slash key while holding W down, which will then open the chat, but it will let the train keep driving. And all that you have to do is just press enter whenever you want to take control of the train again. Once your journey begins, you can start looting all the different houses, and eventually you'll end up coming across wooden wheels. Now these are effectively entirely bulletproof, so they are a great addition to have on your train to give you more situational awareness, just being able to see, what's going on around you, all the while preventing you from getting absolutely beamed by the bandits that you pass by. It actually may just be one of the best pieces of armor in the game, and they're extremely common. Though if you want to talk about more of the potential best items in the entire game, the horse cart. Now this can be found in any farm. Farms are always a guaranteed spawn for a horse cart and the only place that you can get it. You can weld items to it and hook it onto your horse, so it's great for looting larger locations like towns. Though the aforementioned horses are not the only animal that you can tame in Dead Rails. You can also tame wolves with any kind of corpse. All that you have to do is just hold it up to their face while they're running at you. And they act as both a great distraction and a good way to get some extra damage on the more difficult enemies in the game. You can collect a lot of them at once and unleash them like your own personal army if you're able to get enough of them. Now, one question that I do get asked a lot is people ask me if there's any way to make Dead Rails brighter. And actually, yes, there is a way to do it without any kind of hacks or cheats or anything like that. And it's extremely simple, though it might only be for PC. I don't think you can do this on Mac, not on mobile either, but it'll help somebody. So pretty much what you're going to do is whenever you have Dead Rails open, you can just press your Windows key and then type in the word gamma. And what that's going to do is you're going to see this option here for calibrate display color. You'll just open that and then you'll click next 3 times. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring up the slider here. Now you're not going to be able to see it on video, unfortunately, but whenever you tweak the slider, it'll make your screen extremely bright or you can make it extremely dark. So what we're going to do for the sake of demonstration is we're going to bring it all the way up and I'm going to give you kind of a comparison here. So this is what normal nighttime looks like in Dead Rails. Super dark. You can barely see anything. Of course, you can see a little bit more by the town, but if I go ahead and I turn up my gamma, which I'm doing this while editing, but it gives you like the exact same effect. This is what it does, having that slider all the way up. Now, of course, whenever it becomes daytime, you don't want it to look like this because it's just kind of way overly bright. So all that you'll want to do is just hit this reset button right here, and then you could just leave this window open if you want to. Just don't go to the next menus, don't save this option. Just turn this up when you want it up and hit reset whenever you're done. So that's effectively night vision in Dead Rails. At some point, you're also going to come across towns. They are super plentiful in every single run, and are probably the #1 place that most people are going to die. However, towns are actually super easy to beat under 3 conditions. You have to have a horse, make sure that it has just become day before you loot the town, and that you have like any gun with a good bit of ammo. If you meet all 3 of these criteria, towns are just as easy to loot as those single buildings off the sides of the tracks. Of course, whenever it first becomes morning, hop on your horse and just circle the town, go up and down the roads, just absolutely loop around everything, get into every crack and crevice, and lure as many zombies as possible into one big open area. From there, you can just easily headshot them while you're going in circles, or if you have Molotovs, they're a decent alternative as well. After everything though, bam, you're free to loot the town. Just keep in mind that some zombies can and will get stuck inside of buildings, so always assume that you missed a few whenever you're done. Once they're cleared out, you can easily loot banks after picking up the codes dropped by these beautiful bearded men here. However, alternatively, you can use dynamite if you come across it. Something that'll be even more useful though whenever it comes to looting is going to be instantly reloading. Eventually during your run, you're going to either find or buy a rifle or shotgun or even the sawed-off, and that is going to be a unique feature that these weapons have whenever you reload them. Normally, whenever you fire as much as you can, you spend a hot couple of seconds reloading all your ammo, but if you spam reload or R on PC while you fire, you can fire just as fast as the normal weapon, or at least very close to, while never having to sit and do a full reload. It is well worth doing so you never have to sit for a couple of seconds completely defenseless. Now this next one here is a little bit less of a gameplay tip so much as it is just something funny, but if you didn't know, you can actually control the sound that the banjo makes by looking up or down while playing it. I think that the best armor in the entire game is going to be the barbed wire. It damages and flings just about any enemy that touches them. However, unlike what I used to think, barbed wire doesn't actually last forever and can only do so much damage or kill so many enemies before it breaks. You can actually tell how close it is to breaking by how dark the color of the barbed wire gets. So next time that you armor up your train with barbed wire, just keep an eye on the different pieces to see which one you'll need to replace, because eventually you're gonna have to. Now there will be enemies that aren't really going to be affected by barbed wire because they don't have to get that close to you to do damage, and that is going to be the bandits or outlaws, which have a tendency to make me want to scream. But there's actually a really simple thing that you can do to kill these guys. So provided that you're in a building or behind some cover, you can actually listen to the pattern of their shots, since yes, these dudes actually do have to stop and reload, though it's very brief. So you can hear how many shots they fire, then it'll pause for a couple seconds, and then they'll start firing again, so you'll know exactly how many shots it takes before they have to reload. And that's going to be your time to peek them and fire at them. Sometimes multiple will be firing kind of all in unison, and they'll pause to reload all at the same time. Though along the railroads, you're going to find some other special locations, and each one has its own kind of unique strat to it. And the first that I'm going to mention is the town of Sterling, an abandoned mining town found along the left side of the tracks and featuring some super cool items and unique weapons. Inside, you'll have a bunch of skeletons and dynamite zombies trying to kill you, but there's a quick way to get to safety. You'll see these barrels, and you can move them out of the way and climb into this room here. Nothing seems to be able to get into the room, but you can kill pretty much anything that comes near you without any risk to yourself. If you need to as well, you can step out of the room to kind of bait enemies into spawning and chasing you back to the room where you can easily just hide. Eventually they will stop spawning as well, but it may take a little bit of time. Though there is another tip for this location that'll actually make your time inside of here a little bit more safe. So once you can make it into the room in the far back where you find the Jade Mask, if you take it off of this button, it'll spawn a bunch of werewolves. However, you can kind of Indiana Jones your way into making that not happen by just putting either a silver or gold bar next to the mask before taking it off. You can even use the vase for this, but it's a bit harder to use that one because of how big the model is. And of course, one final tip about this location, pick up all of the dynamite you see because it can end up being super helpful with what I talked about earlier, being breaking into bank vaults. The Tesla Lab, of course, is going to be another location that you come across. Assuming that you know the purpose of the location being to build this big buff man, you'll know that a lot of lab zombies will spawn after turning this big giant wheel, and they can super easily trample you if you are not careful. It's happened to me way more times than I have to admit. You can't really go outside because you'll be hit by the lightning, so you're kind of trapped inside. Though there is one way to actually very safely not have to fight any of the Tesla Lab zombies, and that is to just climb up on top of the wheel. None of the zombies spawn inside of this room, and even if they get in, they can't really get to you. Though, before you do this, make sure to have a ton of snake oil on you because the lab zombies will be waiting outside of the room and outside of the building. Grab the electrocutioner if possible, and head to either the closest safe area or your train, whichever one is closer, which if it is the train, hopefully you have enough defenses to avoid getting shredded as soon as you step on it. I think the military base is a pretty cool location, but there's only one real way to tackle it, and that is going to be just head on. So my tip for you is just kind of don't die. You can also kind of take a horse through it a few times, maybe to lure some zombies out and snipe them from a distance, but other than that, you have to take a very head-on approach to the spot. And for the final current game special location, the castle. You can pretty much do the same thing, just circle around the entire building on a horse several times until you got this nice train going, and then you can just run while shooting behind you, and boom, easy castle beaten. Alternatively, if you are close to a safe area, you can drag everything behind you towards there to let the sentries do the killing for you. Now, the only real location that you have to deal with next is going to be the final area. I forget what it's called. It's like the outlaw base or something like that, outlaw hideout, whatever it is. Just keep an eye on your distance because the end of the game is going to be at about 80,000 meters, and once you kind of get close and you can see the final location, you're just going to want to snipe the sentry on either side, and then kind of slowly ease your train forward and snipe the individual dudes that are inside of the base. Now, they are going to continuously kind of spawn a little bit from inside the buildings, so just keep an eye on that and make sure that you're armored enough to not immediately get one shot. But this part is the fairly easy part, just getting to where you need to be. And once you turn this giant wheel, the next thing you're going to want to do, provided that your train is plenty armored enough, is literally just sit inside your train. Barricade it off as much as you can with any kind of armor. Just sit inside, have barbed wire on the outside so nothing can walk in, and just wait for the timer to end. I feel like this is probably the most difficult part. A lot of people comment about how they just die here, but like I said, this being the most difficult half of this final area, just stay in your train and you'll be fine. Now, unfortunately, I thought that I had a lot more tips and tricks in my head, and running through the game a couple of times, there's not much out of the ordinary that I really do that I've noticed. But if any of you guys have your own tips or tricks, make sure that you leave those in the comment section below so me and other people can see them. And hey, if we get enough of your guys' tips, I will make sure to do a follow-up video basically talking about your guys' best tips and tricks for dead rails. So with that said, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you found it helpful, definitely get subscribed like I said so that you don't miss a single video just like this one. You can also consider becoming a channel member like the amazing, lovely, fantastic people up on the screen right now to help the channel just that little bit more. But alternatively, make sure to just check out the following Dead Rails videos up on screen. There's also a whole playlist and everything too of tons and tons of Dead Rails videos. All right, dudes, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Peace.